Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm finally filming my stats and ECs etc. video, which a few people requested. Not a lot of people, but a few people requested it, so I'm still making the video. These are the stats and ECs that ultimately got me accepted to Princeton, Columbia, UC Berkeley, Rice University, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and Virginia Tech, if you're wondering. Okay, before we get into the video, basically like a breakdown of the video is I'm gonna go through like my background, a really brief background, and then stats, ECs, honors, and then like an analysis of kind of where I think I stood in terms of my stats and ECs and everything. So we're just going to get started. Okay, in terms of background, I was a Korean American domestic student, which means I'm from the US and I'm not like an international student. I wasn't an athlete or a legacy at any of the schools I applied to, and I went to like a pretty average public high school, I would say. Okay, now I'm just going to start with the stats, and I'll start with my GPAs. So my unweighted GPA was a 3.96. I did get straight A's in high school, but I got a B in Spanish in middle school, so that's why it's not a 4.0. I know some schools like Stanford actually like recalculate your GPA and they only calculate it for like sophomore, junior, and senior year. In that case, I would have had a 4.0. And I know it's like not that big of a deal to like not have a 4.0, so yeah, I had a 3.96, and then my weighted GPA was a 4.68 when I applied, which is like right after junior year ended. I had a 4.68, and then when I sent in like my mid-year transcript, which was like halfway through senior year, I had a 4.72 because I took a shit ton of AP classes. And the mid-year one is only applicable to waitlist schools, I guess, because I only sent them into like waitlisted schools. Also for reference, my school doesn't rank, but they do like top 25, which is the highest top 25 like weighted GPAs, and I was not within top 25. I was probably within like 5 to 10% of my graduating class, but again, like I'm not sure because they never told us. Okay, AP scores. Including senior year, I took a total of 12 AP classes, but 6 of them were senior year. So I didn't test for any of my senior year classes, but these are the ones that I took and the ones that I tested for. AP NSL, which is US government, I got a 3. APUSH, which is US history, I got a 4. AP world history, I got a 4. AP calculus, AB, I got a 4. AP English, language, and composition, I also got a 4. And then AP Spanish, language, and culture, I got a 3 after taking Spanish for like 7 years. Here are all the classes I took in high school, but just pause and then like look at the screen because I feel like that would just take a lot of time. So here are the classes I took. Okay, next is what everyone kind of asks about, which is SAT and ACT. Don't be too disappointed. On the SAT, I took the SAT 3 times. The first time I got a 1430. The second time I got a 1460. The third time I got a 1350. Don't know what happened. The second time I took it, which was the 1460, was my highest like super score and regular score, which was a breakdown of 710 on the math section and a 750 on the reading section. And those were my 2 highest scores for like all 3 of my tests, so that's what I submitted to the colleges. I also took the ACT once after I took all my SATs, and I got a 32, which was a breakdown of 36 on the reading, 35 on writing, 28 on math, and 27 on the science. And I also submitted that score to all my schools. So those are my test scores. Next section is my ECs and activities, so extracurriculars. and this is the order that I wrote them in the comment app. My first activity, I was the founder and creative director for Dye for a Change, which is like a tie-dye business nonprofit that I ran all 4 years of high school, which is so much physical labor, like I cannot tell you, but I would like donate all the profits to like UNICEF and like other organizations. So that was my first activity. Second activity and third activity were kind of like the same activity, but I split them into two. So for my second one, I was in a human rights organization, and I put that I was the writer and researcher for this intern book project we did, and basically I ended up writing a chapter of a book that we like self-published together. And my third activity was the same human rights organization, but I put that it was specifically like the internship where we'd like go volunteer and like do other research. Fourth was volunteering as a student director for a local middle school's spring musical. I also did this for 4 years and it was really fun. Fifth activity, I was on the lacrosse team for all 4 years, and I was also the captain senior year, but again, that's also only applicable to waitlist schools because I didn't know I was captain until like later on in the spring. I was also on the soccer team freshman year, and then I did field hockey sophomore year, but since I only did those for like a year each, I just only put lacrosse. Sixth was marketing director for a literary arts magazine that specifically promoted APIA in entertainment and mainstream pop culture. I like actually put that I didn't spend that many hours per week on it, but it was something that was meaningful to me, so that's why it still went in my common app. Oh my god, I literally don't know how I did all this stuff in high school. Okay, seventh was I was on the video media team for a non-profit organization that provided like non-traditional learning opportunities during COVID-19. We like made videos and stuff and like collaborated over Zoom and stuff like that. So that again wasn't something that I spent too many hours per week on, and I wasn't part of that for too long, obviously because it like started because of COVID, but again, I still thought it was something like meaningful and it was really cool like to be a part of, so I still wrote it down. Activity 8, I was in National Art Honor Society for all 4 years, but junior year I was a historian, and then senior year I was co-president. Activity 9, I was in National Honor Society, National English Honor Society, National Spanish Honor Society, and I just grouped all those together because I didn't do much for like any of them. But I still went to all the meetings and stuff, don't get me wrong. Like I just didn't put like as much effort as other activities, so that's why they all went together in activity 9. Activity 10, I was a member and officer for this like ambassadors organization that my school has, so we just help out with like school-wide activities and whatnot, which I did for 3 or 4 years, and those were all 10 of my activities. I filled all 10 slots. You don't have to, by the way. Next section is honors. Because my test scores weren't incredibly high in comparison to the standards that the Ivy League and all these like elite colleges have, I grinded my ass off to like get any awards that I like possibly could. So that's why I like kind of have a lot of them. These are my honors in the order that I wrote them on the Common App. These might have switched around a little bit because like towards the beginning and like middle of senior year I got a lot of honors because that's kind of when I like applied and like got honors, because I didn't realize there were awards to like apply for. So some of these I like didn't put on my original Common App application, but I did send them in as updates, so I'm just gonna read what's on my Common App now. First honor, I was a Young Arts Design Arts winner in 2021, and I also won some Scholastic Art Awards, like 3 silver medals and 2 honorable mentions. I just put those together because they're all like art related awards. And that's like national and then state and regional awards. My second honor was that I was a finalist for the Telluride Association Summer Program, which is also known as TAS, in 2020, which is junior year. And this is a national or international one, I can't remember. And then my third honor was that I was a Coca-Cola Scholarship semifinalist in 2021, which is also national or international, I cannot remember. Fourth was I received the President's Volunteer Service Award junior year for interning with that human rights organization I mentioned earlier, which is a national award. Honor number 5, which is my last award, was that I presented my winning artwork to the county executive for Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration at the Strathmore Center freshman year, which is like a regional thing. So those were all the honors that I submitted on my application. Now it's time for the analysis. The first one is that I think my stats were the weakest part of my application, especially my test scores, actually only my test scores I guess, but they were all right on, if not below, the 25th percentile at reach schools like Columbia, Princeton, etc. Rice. Yeah, my test scores were not very high in comparison to other people who applied and got in. And because of that, I think I got in despite my test scores and not because of them. So take that as you will. The second point is that my ECs followed a theme of art plus sports plus community service, which kind of seems random, but I connected them all throughout my other supplemental essays and my Common App essay, which is why I think it made more sense. But yeah, I just kind of like did whatever I wanted to during high school, and these are all activities I had fun doing. Third point is that my honors and kind of like my essays too, they all got better for my waitlisted schools because I kept applying to things throughout senior year, and so like I kept updating my application and I kept, you know, sending stuff in. Number 4 was that my essays were by far the strongest portion of my application, and so if you watch this stats video and you're like, oh, they're not very like high or like not the best stats you've ever seen, I think that again, like my essays kind of like made up for the weaknesses in like my test scores and stuff. So that'll be in the next video.